Hello, hello, and welcome. Welcome, practice builders. Leslie Bytel here, and I'm really excited to be with you all here today. We had a little internet snafu on my end, so finally got that figured out. So I'm going to cross my fingers and hope that the internet gods are on our side today, right, Erika? Super excited to introduce Erika, Dr. Erika Engel. And Erika, why don't you share a little bit about who you are and just kind of give us a little overview of what you do.
Sure. So my degree is from, my undergrad degree is from MIT. I'm a chemist by training. And my graduate degree is from Boston University School of Medicine. And Leslie, is the quality of sound okay? I hear a lot of reverb.
Okay, let me, could be on my end. Okay,
is that an improvement?
Let me try. Yes, there's no reverb.
Okay.
So I'm a scientist, entrepreneur, very passionate about gut health, having suffered from a whole variety of gut-related issues myself throughout the years. So a chemist by training, my PhD is in biochemistry, turned entrepreneur because I'm passionate about preventive healthcare, excited about the gut microbiome, had the opportunity to start Excela, the internal fitness company, back about 7-8 years ago with a very wonderful group of individuals, including my co-founder, who is considered to be one of the pioneers in the field of both gut microbiome health, but also in the area of metabolomics, which is the study of molecules found in blood and in urine and other body materials. So, really excited to be here, help folks understand a little bit more about this elusive thing called the microbiome, but super important as well.
Awesome. Well, we're super excited to have you. Welcome.
Thank you.
So guys, just to give you a little bit of background, what we're going to be talking about today, we're going to have a conversation with Erika around this. I think it's relatively new technology, at least when, I'll tell you what, when I did the test, it was brand new to me. So really exciting. So Erika is going to talk a little bit about how this technology can be used to not only assess the microbiome, but also as a tool to help to create your care plan in order to improve the microbiome, really improve overall health, right? So I think you guys are going to find this absolutely fascinating. I can share a little bit later, the experience, I guess, from the client or patient perspective, because I actually did the test myself. So I can certainly shine some light there. So why don't we go ahead and jump in? Oh, and guys, I wanted just to let everybody know that please feel free to ask questions, because that, we really want this to be interactive. And with that being said, I can only see questions that you ask through my Facebook page. All right, so I know that's a little tricky. So if you are, because I'm actually streaming into 4 places at once. So if you log into and go onto my business page,
Uh-oh. Everybody, I think we're experiencing some technical difficulties on Leslie's side. Not sure what to do. I'm happy to fill some void here. Looks like we're getting a phone call. Let me see what the plan is. All right, I'm being asked to talk a little bit about Excela. What is the program? What is the test? So I will do that while Leslie reconnects to the internet. So what is Excela? Well, so this is a company that was incorporated in late 2012, early 2013. Essentially, the idea is through a very small volume of blood, we can look at certain molecules that are associated with a variety of different aspects of the health and integrity of the gut microbiome. So when you think about it, you consume food, that food is digested in the stomach, it then goes into the small intestine where it is absorbed through the various microvilli, through the intestinal lining. Bacteria break down that food, and that food is then absorbed through the lining. So some of the molecules that we measure in the blood test actually look at the ability of those molecules to be absorbed through the lining themselves. Just how strong is the integrity of the lining? Some of the molecules are secreted by the bacteria themselves, meaning, do I have the right composition and diversity of bacteria in the gut? We talk about there being good bacteria and bad bacteria, but in reality, what we really want is a proper balance of different types of bacteria. And some of them secrete different types of molecules, and you can assess whether or not you have the right ratios of bacteria by looking at some of the molecules that they're spitting out. So the Excela test, Pinprick blood test, looks at 11 different molecules, some of which are secreted by the bacteria themselves, both the invasive as well as the healthier, more positive bacteria, giving you a sense of, is the diversity of my gut that which it needs to be? Some of the molecules are actually secreted by the intestinal lining and the cells in the intestine itself. So, for example, a molecule like serotonin, which is essentially produced by enterochromaffin cells in the gut. Serotonin, of course, very important for intestinal permeability. I know many of the folks on this call are very much interested in leaky gut and food sensitivity. So if your intestinal lining, the integrity is not tight, spaces are allowed to form where food can travel through, go between the intestinal lining. The immune system, of course, then comes, attacks it, thinking that it's a foreign invader, leading to food sensitivities, food allergies, etc. So some of the molecules that we test actually help to preserve that intestinal lining, that intestinal integrity. Super important to understand how healthy that lining is. Some of the molecules are what we call byproducts of the digestive process. So for example, let's say you've eaten a taco for lunch. Based on your body's ability to digest and process that taco, the real question is, am I able to break down the shell and the leafy greens and the tomatoes and the beef or whatever is in your taco efficiently and effectively? Are those nutrients then able to be absorbed and processed and used by the body for all sorts of other purposes? So an example, let's say amino acid tryptophan. It's a molecule that we measure, super important, right? A breakdown product if you're eating a beef or chicken or any kind of meat taco. That tryptophan is used later on by the body for a whole variety of different purposes. Tryptophan is taken in by the body and turned into a molecule like, for example, serotonin, a molecule like melatonin. Tryptophan is a building block for many types of immune system cells. It helps us to build our organs, our skin, etc. So again, the test itself is designed with the purpose in mind to look at these very specific molecules that we have shown over the course of our research. And like I mentioned earlier, in working with Dr. Wayne Matson in creating the company, but his 50 years of background in this space, in the functional medicine space, in the metabolomic space, having shown that these molecules are really critical, not only to just gut health, but really to overall health in general, and then being able to measure those. And, I think it's a very useful and helpful tool that can be used to assess the quantities and volumes of these specific molecules. And then we also look at other molecules that are associated, for example, with stress. So you know, and it's quite prevalent in the case of athletes who are over exercising, or frankly, maybe you're just a weekend warrior and you think you're doing the right thing, but we measure a variety of molecules that are associated with, that are damage markers, that are associated with stress, both physical and mental stress. If your body is being overtaxed, if you're over exercising, if you are exerting yourself too much, we can measure these molecules, and then, of course, provide suggestions for intervention there. On the nutrition side, we can look at molecules too that are associated with nutritional deficiency. All right, am I getting enough protein in my diet? Am I getting enough B vitamins in my diet? Am I eating the right foods? And this is a topic that's, I think, very, very important, because, if a client comes into your office and you take a look at them, it's very difficult to know ultimately, is this person doing the right thing? Are they healthy? Are they not healthy? It's tough to take a look and just know that. So it provides a very nice baseline assessment tool for our partners. There's a question here that came up on my screen. What are common mistakes that we see when it comes to people wanting to improve their health? Some of the examples given here are things like trendy diets. I think the number one challenge with all of this is that if you don't have a baseline measurement, it's very difficult to know what to do, which is why the Excela test is very powerful. So you can measure certain molecules, and then from that, you can formulate a plan because you know what your baseline is. So in the Excela program, after taking the test, getting the results, we further then provide programs, so specific food types to help address the nutritional deficiencies that a specific individual might be facing. So, if they need more serotonin or tryptophan or tyrosine in their diet, we can then recommend very specific foods to address this. If an individual has elevated damage markers, we provide mindfulness, meditation, sleep, relaxation techniques, and suggestions in the report that helps that person to address these deficiencies. We have fitness programs that are custom tailored to that person's, both the molecules, but also, if their damage markers are in or out of range, fitness programs that are specially customized. So this is really a holistic approach to dealing with all of these issues, which is, it's not just about, nutrition. It's about nutrition. It's about mindfulness. It's about lifestyle and fitness, and looking collectively, comprehensively at all these different areas. And, again, we go back to the question, common mistakes. Well, if you don't know where to start, how do you know what to do? And so typically clients will try this, they'll try that, they'll sort of bounce from one thing to another as they try to figure out what is the right thing for me to do for my body. And at the end of the day, we're all very, very different in our composition and makeup and how we respond to things. So again, I think before starting any fad, and we always tell our clients and the folks that we work with, measure it first. Try to get a really quantitative assessment of what the problem is before you just sort of jump in and decide what you think is right. All right, let's see, next question here. All right, we've got, how does the Excela test compare to a stool test or a DNA test? Wonderful, wonderful question. We get this all the time. So this is going to be a little bit of a longer answer, but I think hopefully will be useful and ultimately helpful. So right now, there are essentially 4 categories of tests. You've got blood testing, you've got urine testing, you've got stool testing, and you've got DNA testing. So, blood testing, though, folks will often say, well, you guys are really novel because you're a blood test looking at the health of the microbiome. In many ways, blood testing is sort of an industry standard, right? You go to your physician and they order various different blood panels, blood tests. It's very common for blood to be sort of the standard for the immediate snapshot of what is going on in your body. So, and even in our case, when we think about testing the health of the microbiome, really the way you measure the health of the microbiome is in measuring its output, because it's very difficult, and we'll talk about this with the stool sample testing, it's very difficult to know what the output is if you're measuring something that is essentially used up or dead. And a lot of what is measured in stool samples are that. So we'll come back to that at the end. So again, the microbiome lives essentially in the small intestine, small and large intestine. Most of the time, those microbes, they don't come out. If they came out every time you went to the bathroom, it would be very bad for you, right? You can't do that indefinitely. You wouldn't survive that type of experience. So it's the problem, again, we'll come back with stool testing. So blood testing allows you to say, how are the bacteria in my gut actually able to break down, process, and absorb the nutrients that I'm getting from my diet? Are they doing a good job in keeping me healthy and spitting these molecules out into my systemic circulation, into my blood? And thus you measure them in the blood. In urine testing, it's somewhat similar, but by the time a molecule makes it to your urine, it's essentially been used up, right? So, you know, the body has used those nutrients, has modified them in a way, and is now excreting them through your urine. So there's always a question of, why is this happening a certain way? What is the reason for that certain molecule to be there? So it is somewhat useful to have that information, but the challenge is it's not always clear why that certain molecule is appearing, and tracing it back to the specific pathway or to the specific problem can be difficult. So there's limitations in urine testing. DNA testing is problematic in many ways because we talk about risk and risk association. What does that really mean? And 23andMe, of course, being the sort of signature child for this area, if you remember, they got in trouble because they made claims around, well, you have a 33% greater chance of getting Parkinson's disease if you have this specific, you know, SNP or whatever in your DNA. And ultimately, the real question is, what does it mean? 33% greater than what? So in a DNA test, they may tell you you're at risk or at greater risk, or there's some percentage of chance of having X, Y, or Z. But at the end of the day, you still really want to know, do I have the problem or not? So a test may say, well, you're at increased risk for having high cholesterol. And you might say, well, that's nice, but do I have high cholesterol, or do I need to care about this or not? And so ultimately, again, it's not as helpful in the immediacy of what should I do about this. Stool sample testing I saved to last because it is the most common way that folks are hearing about doing microbiome testing. And again, I would say it depends on what you're trying to accomplish. If you're interested in parasitology, if you're interested in what bacteria are in my stool, if you're interested in certain specific molecules that appear in the stool, yes, then one would do a stool sample test. If you were trying to assess through a person's stool sample what types of foods they should be eating based on nutritional deficiencies, et cetera, it's not the way to go, because that's not what you're measuring. And measuring this, you know, the specific output, remember, not everything comes out in the stool. So it's not about how is what is in my gut working effectively to digest, break down, and produce the molecules I need to stay healthy. It's more about what bacteria are in my stool. So it's not a comprehensive look. It's more of what is there rather than how is it working for me to keep me healthy. And again, maybe that's the purpose. But the typically, I think what makes our test really useful, and I see this as the next question, and I think ultimately a good segue, is why should individuals, or specifically registered dietitians, consider using Excela in their practice? There's a variety of different reasons. The first, I think, is one, like we mentioned before, that this helps with getting data to make more informed decisions about the client's health protocol. So you'll have access to the specific markers which are in and out of range, and from there, be able to decide which types of foods would be the most useful to recommend to your client. We also believe that because the report contains all kinds of different sections in it, so you've got the nutrition section, the macronutrient plans, the mindfulness sections, the fitness sections, that it allows for greater opportunity to interact ultimately with your client, which is really very, very important to build those relationships and to to get them on the right path. Because as we all know, these are not things that you can do overnight. This is not something that, change doesn't happen in a day. You really have to help that individual to understand what is going on in their body, what can be done to assist them, etc. It's a great way to streamline your practice because all of these different tools lie on one platform. We have a lot of partners who, pull from this, provider to do fitness, and this provider to do mindfulness, and this provider to do nutrition, because they all lie on one platform with us. It's super, super convenient and super helpful. The last thing that we've recently added are 90-day programs. So these are essentially for our pro partners. You can use them as is, you can modify them, do whatever you wish with them, but they are designed to help with starting with the test, but to guide your client on a specific journey depending on their goals. So there are 4 different 90-day programs. The first is in weight loss. So, if the client is specifically looking to lose weight, vitality, meaning energy levels, sleep levels, overall general health. We have a GI transformation program, which is a little bit more clinical, which is quite popular. And then also an immunity program, which, given what is going on right now in our world, also seems very, very timely. So, I think there are a variety of reasons why practitioners choose this platform. We really try to make it as simple and streamlined as possible for our partners. Let's see if there are any other questions that have appeared. So, regardless of the fact that we've had a little bit of trouble here with technology, and I wish I'd be happy to answer questions if I could get access to them. And to some extent, if folks have questions, I'm easy to find. I'm just Erika, ERIKA, at ixcela.com. But we're really thrilled to be collaborating with Leslie as part of her network. We have a couple of offers that we wanted to offer to folks. First, there's a landing page that you can go to learn more specifically about the program, about the test. I know I'm ad hocing a little bit here, so my apologies in the flow of all of this, but the site would be go.excela.com/Leslie, LESLI. That is something that if you go take a look, a lot of content there for you to review. 2 options once you get there. The first, if you are a healthcare practitioner and you're interested in learning more about Excela and the test and the science, I'd be more than happy to talk to you about it, answer questions, send you additional information about the technology, about the metabolites, the markers that we're measuring, etc. There is information on that landing page, the go.excela.com/Leslie, about how to schedule with either myself or a member of the team to learn more about becoming a professional partner of Excela. If you're interested in purchasing the kit, all that information is also there. We are offering a couple of coupons too, if you guys are interested in trying it. Obviously there's no cost in becoming a professional partner. We love to work with professionals of all different types. But if you go on that site, I think there's a $20 coupon for the test, a $50 coupon for one of the 90-day programs. And yeah, so we hope that you will take a look, and we'd love to work with you. We'd love for you to yeah, we'd love for you to learn more. Let me see, I'm being sent messages here. I am not seeing what I'm being asked to see. Let me inform them of this. Let's see here. Yeah, and again, if there are any questions at all, happy to answer them. I'm not sure if there's any way for me to actually field those right now. Probably not. So again, thank you so much for your time, and looking forward to meeting you again. Again, the landing page, if you're interested, is go.excela.com/Leslie. If you're a professional doctor, functional medicine provider, nutritionist, trainer, interested in potentially using the Excela technology in your practice, please take a look, reach out to us, schedule a time to chat. Be more than happy to walk you through and tell you more about the program. And if you're interested in the test kit for yourself, please take a look, and got some great coupons. So thank you so much for your time. Take care. Bye-bye.